Okay, got our ticket to Prague. We're barely making this train. I was gonna have a beer before I came here. I'm glad I didn't. I only speak English. Sorry. Is there like a dining car for food? No. Okay. Oh, you heard the guy. No food. Can't open the window. You know, at all the touristy cities. But today, we're not going to the touristy part of Prague. I'm not going to show you the clock, or the tower, or the bridge, or the synagogue, or any of the other stuff. We are going to look at some of the last scars left here by the Nazis. After the assassination of Reinhard Heinrich, I think that's how you say it, the Butcher of Prague. It was done by a bunch of English-trained Czech paratroopers. Reinhard was right-hand man to Himmler himself. He's a very important Nazi officer. He was assassinated right here in Prague. Following the assassination, 5,000 or 6,000 civilians were murdered right outside of downtown Prague, wrongfully. They had nothing to do with the assassination, but they were blamed because it happened in their town. And the Nazis wanted to make sure that nothing would ever go back to that town. So not only did they murder everyone there, they burnt it to the ground. They even changed the direction of the river to make sure that it would never flow through that town again. They wanted to make sure no one could ever live there. I'm not going to show you all that. We're looking for a very obscure, small church, which is where they held out at. You can still see the bullet holes left by the Nazis as they were trying to enter. I want to say that there were about 600 or so paratroopers that took refuge within this church for several days, hiding from the Nazis after the assassination. They were eventually given up by one of their own. When the Nazis found where they were, they circled it, continued to try to blow it up, shoot their way in. They even tried to flood it with fire hoses. Out of all of this, I want to say a handful of them did die. The remaining took their own lives instead of surrendering to the Nazis. So in all, for one man, 6,000 or so civilians were killed, along with at least several dozen paratroopers. Not exactly sure the number. But let's find this church. We'll get back. Okay, I lied to you. Did a little research on the walk here. So it was about a dozen paratroopers. And they were surrounded by several hundred, I think it was 800 German soldiers. And the town was called Tenais. I think. I'm not really sure how you say that in English. But yeah, they destroyed the entire town. Not only did they burn it to the ground, kill all the inhabitants, throughout Prague they also arrested about 13,000 civilians and interrogated them. Even after knowing that they had nothing to do with it, they continued to kill civilians just to cause terror. They even dug up all of the graves in the town. Dug them all up and threw them to the side. Rerouted the river. They wanted to make sure to leave a statement. But if you try to assassinate or do assassinate any German officer, any German soldier, there will be devastating consequences, not just for you, but for your loved ones, for your friends, your family, your community. We're getting close. Let's find the bullet holes and I'll check back in. Okay, we made it. And it is marked. That small window still has bullet holes, shrapnel. Prague does a great job of preserving its city. So the fact that they haven't filled these in or tried to fix them, they're leaving it as a reminder. There's a few throughout the city. Maybe none quite as meaningful as this, but there are several reminders to the history of Prague that go left untouched. But anyway, that's the short video here. You'd walk right by that, not really know what it is. Not know the history of it. Many people do, as they walk on their way to the clock, to the bridge, to the synagogue, to all the other stuff here in Prague. There's a crypt inside and a small tour that you can take of the inside of where they held out. We're not going to do that. It's a tour group, probably getting some information about it. Alright guys, I'm signing off from Prague. There's not much else here that I want to show you. I do want to make it to a cemetery, but I'm not going to show you all the touristy stuff. You can see that online for yourself somewhere else. There's 1,000 channels that'll show them walking around down there. It's too many people for me, and you also don't care. So, signing off from Prague. We're going to go have a beer, some water after that walk.